everybody, Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a deck centered around the combination of Darkrai EX and Yveltal EX. And before I get into the deck, I just wanted to give a gigantic shout out to Future Films, who left a link, well, not a link, left a code in the description of my Xerneas video. I apologize that I wasn't able to give you a proper shout out in the last video. I just got very swamped for time and had to pre-record that video, so it was done before you left that comment, but thank you so much. That was really appreciated. Also, just a reminder to hop on over and check out our announcement video for the Token Minorities March Madness Pokemon TCGO side tournament. It is completely free to enter, and you have the chance to win some breakpoint codes, so feel free to check that out and sign up if you would like to sign up just for a free TCGO tournament. And now, onto the deck. Like I said, this deck is centered around the combination of Darkrai EX and Yveltal EX. This really originated from an idea that my buddy Dallas gave me. We were talking on Skype one day, and he asked me if I had a deck list for a deck centered around really Dark Pulse Darkrai. I mean, I know I built a deck centered around Dark Head, but Darkrai's other attack, Dark Pulse, is very good in its own right, especially if you can get it set up in the way that you definitely have the ability to. Now, I know in Expanded you have things like Dark Patch, which can accelerate a lot more quickly, but this deck is just as good in Standard. Well, maybe not quite as good, but it is still very good, and I am going to show you exactly how good it can be. Starting off with the Pokemon, we have two Shaman, just draw support. I mean, that's why Shaman is in any deck. You never run a deck with offensive Shaman. You literally just run a deck to, well, you literally just run Shaman in the deck to draw cards. We are running two Darkrai for the Dark Pulse attack. This attack does 20 plus 20 more for each darkness energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So really, you only need 2 energy on Darkrai to hit for an absolute ton of damage, and one of the partners we are pairing with this Darkrai is Baby Yveltal. We are running 4 of these because you almost always, actually you do always want to start with Baby Yveltal because of the Oblivion Wing. For 1 darkness energy, you can attach a darkness energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. So really, you can get 2 darkness energy in play in 1 turn thanks to Baby Yveltal, and Darkrai's attack is powered up by plus 40 just from 1 turn. Now, you might be thinking, what is another Dark Pokemon who also benefits from having a lot of energy in play and maybe even a lot of energy on it? Oh, it can't be the card that's arguably one of the best cards in the entire game since it was introduced. Well, it is. Yveltal is just phenomenal. I mean, this card probably almost always will be one of the best cards in the format until it gets rotated out, just because Evil Ball is Mewtwo's X Ball plus 20, and I mean, really, darkness energy, darkness type is incredible in the game, especially with Yveltal, Baby Yveltal accelerating energy onto it. So I mean, Yveltal EX is just phenomenal to use. So I mean, I'm pairing up these 2 attackers to hit for an absolute ton of damage, and also I'm throwing in a line of Zoroark with the stand-in and Mind Jack. That way you don't have to discard your energy to be able to retreat with the Yveltal to keep the darkness energy in play. That way Darkrai's Dark Pulse can be powered up even more. And also, Mind Jack is a great attack on its own. If your opponent builds up the bench too much, then you can just Mind Jack to knock out something very powerful. And I'm also running just 1 Zoroark break. I mean, you can run more, you can even not run it at all. I just kind of like it just in case I run up against something that just gets absolutely, like, boosted to the point where I don't have anything that can knock it out right away. So Zoroark can come in, and for 1 darkness energy, it can use its own the opponent's own attack against it. So that is why I like running it. Usually it just gets discarded and isn't that useful, but in some cases, Zoroark Break can actually save me the game. On to the items. We're running 2 Battle Compressor, mostly for darkness energy, but in a pinch you can get a supporter or something in the discard pile that you need to use. We're running only 1 Level Ball, just for Zorua. That's the only thing you can possibly get with a Level Ball. So I'm running 1 just because I like to be able to search that out and I don't want to have to waste an Ultra Ball on a little Zorua. We're running 4 Max Elixir. This is from Breakpoint. It is an incredible energy acceleration card. I mean, theoretically, in 1 turn, you can get 5 attachments if you hit all 5 Max Elixir, or all 4 Max Elixir, and you get the manual attachment. So I mean, this card is great, especially in this deck where you want to have a ton of energy in play to hit for massive damage with Darkrai and Yveltal, so we were running the absolute max number of those. One Super Rod, just in case you overextend yourself a little bit. I have found that I battle compressed and I looked and saw that, oh wait, I have no energy left in my deck, and I don't have a way of powering up an Yveltal for Oblivion Wing. And also Super Rod is great for getting back some of the Pokemon that you discarded. So I mean, it's a great combination. I could run Sacred Ash if I wanted to get more Pokemon, but I like having the flexibility of being able to retrieve some of the regular energy as well. For Ultra Ball, I mean, because it's Ultra Ball and it is great for getting absolutely everything out. I mean, Ultra Ball grabs a Darkrai, grabs a Shaman, it can turn into cards, it can turn into an attacker, it can turn into a way to retreat. I mean, Ultra Ball is just phenomenal in itself. Running 4 VS Seeker to reuse all of our supporters. We are running 1 AZ for the Shaman. I mean, that's really all you run the AZ for, unless like you really want to get the Yveltal out of the active or get a Darkrai out. So I mean, like, AZ is great for stall tactics that your opponent uses, like if they're able to get rid of a Floatstone or you don't have a Zoroark in play and they Lysander in something that can't really retreat that easily, you can just AZ it right up, play it down, and continue on your merry way. One Judge, just to disrupt our opponent. A lot of this deck relies on things being in the discard pile, so being down to 4 cards isn't necessarily the worst thing, and it can disrupt our opponent big time if they draw poorly off of the Judge. We are running 2 Lysander because, I mean, you want to bring things out and knock them out. You normally won't be able to hit for too much damage with Dark Pulse because you're not going to be able to get like all 11 energy in play to knock out like a Mega or something like that. So Lysander is great for just being able to knock out like a Shaman on the bench or something like that. And Lysander is just an amazing card in general, so you want to run it in your deck. I just happen to be running 2. For Sycamore, because Sycamore, refresh your hand. This deck does not necessarily mind discarding stuff, mostly because almost all of your resources you are able to play down before you can discard your entire hand. So Sycamore is just like, okay, I don't like what I have left, or I want a new hand, boom, refresh. We are running 3 Reverse Valley. Now, this is where I differ from some people. You can definitely run Shadow Circle. I mean, that is an incredible option. It keeps weaknesses, it keeps all your dark Pokemon from having weaknesses, can help against Night March as well, but I prefer Reverse Valley just for that 10 extra damage that you get. Now, against Steel decks, this card is pretty much useless, but I have found that 1, Steel decks aren't that common, and 2, the 10 damage comes in a lot more handy than you think, particularly with Fighting Fury Belt coming out. So I mean, you basically have a Muscle Band with the Reverse Valley in play and a Fighting Fury Belt attached to your Pokemon. You basically have a Muscle Band and 40 extra HP, so that is why I like Reverse Valley. 2 Floatstone for the Zoroark, and maybe 1 for something that you don't want active at the time. 1 Muscle Band just in case you need a little bit extra damage. 2 DCE because, I mean, everything functions on DCE except for Yveltal. I mean, Yveltal EX gets more powerful, Zoroark you can power up in 1 turn, Darkrai, even Dark Pulse, you can just slap a DCE on there, and even though there won't be Darkness Energy attached to the Darkrai, you can still hit for Dark Pulse depending on the Darkness Energy you have attached to the rest of your Pokemon, and then 11 Darkness Energy because that is what the deck really runs on. But anyway, I'm done rambling. This is a very fun deck, and let's just go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Oma Lova with a Psychic Fighting deck. Oh man, I'm running into nothing but fighting decks today, so I'm interested to see what type of fighting deck this is. We do lose the coin flip. Looks like somebody else picks Tails besides me, so we will probably go second. However, if my opponent actually starts with a Zubat, well, I mean, I'm thinking based on the coin this is a Lucario Bats deck, but I could be very wrong. If he does start with, we don't start with the greatest hand. What I think I'm going to do is start with an Yveltal just to resist the attacks and then just kind of pray that my opponent doesn't have anything else to hit me. I don't have any form of draw support right now, so that is kind of scary. If I can get an Ultra Ball or something, that will be great. My opponent, this indeed is a Lucario Bats deck, and my opponent starts with a Hawlucha. That is not what we want to see. Hopefully I can get like a Sycamore or something like that to where I'd be able to draw an Yveltal and just play that down. So so my Yveltal EX will not have to take a huge hit this turn. My opponent luckily gets Tails on the Birch, so hopefully that means he won't be able to do much. We do see the Focus Sash onto the Hawlucha, and I'm really hoping I have a way of getting my Yveltal out of the active this turn. It doesn't look like I do, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is play that onto Darkrai down, play the Fighting Fury Belt onto the Yveltal, go for a Max Elixir. I do get one, so that's nice. Put that onto the Darkrai, probably play the DCE onto the Zorua, and I think I just have to end my turn right there. If I can get a Battle Compressor next turn and then like a Zoroark or something like that, that will be absolutely phenomenal. We do see the Golbat, so he's probably going to try to knock out the Yveltal EX in the active. Really, I just kind of have to accept the fact that Yveltal is probably going to go down in order for me to be able to draw something. I want to always keep 2 cards in my hand at a time, and oh man, my opponent's going to be able to get 40 damage off of this turn just due to AZ and Golbat, so that's something to kind of look out for. Luckily, it will take 3 hits. It will take 1 more turn and then another turn after that. We do get a level ball. That is not helpful. I just have to end my turn right now. This is looking very, very bad for us at the moment. Luckily, my opponent hasn't drawn too much more, and we do see the Muscle Band onto Lucario, so my opponent's in top deck mode, so am I. Unfortunately, he can actually do some stuff, and oh man, there we go, finally. So let's go ahead and Battle Compress away a Sycamore, one of these, and probably, I think I'm going to go for probably a Lysander. Yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of that. Go ahead and Level Ball, probably grab another Zorua just because I want that out of the deck. Play the Reverse Valley. Yes, I do want my Dark attacks to do more. Go for the VS Seeker, grab a Sycamore. Get a lot more cards. There we go. I do get an Yveltal. I do not get a Zoroark. That is, wow, that is very devastating. So what I am going to do is just power up probably the Yveltal on the bench and then hope I can get something next turn. I mean, this Yveltal is going to go down either way, so that's just a bummer. But, I mean, there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. We drew very, very poorly to start off with, and hopefully my opponent doesn't top deck anything ridiculous. Okay, so he does get an energy onto Lucario. I mean, that's not too horrible. He does knock out my Yveltal, which is bad because he will take 2 prizes, and we are immediately on our back foot. I'm hoping that we will be able to bounce back fairly quickly. I do get a Float Stone onto the Zorua, play a Darkness Energy onto the Darkrai, go ahead and Sycamore away, hopefully get the other Yveltal EX. No, I do not, but what I can do is play this Yveltal down, put a Fighting Fury Belt, probably onto the active, go ahead and Ultra Ball away a Darkness and a Float Stone to grab a Shaman to draw into more cards. The other Shaman does look to be prized, so that is something that I need to keep in mind. There we go. Hopefully I can get... I mean, Yveltal will be key in this matchup. Okay, so I get a Zoroark. That is good. I would rush in, or stand in, but it wouldn't do much good in this case, just because I would not be able to knock out the Hawlucha anyway, and I want to save the Zoroark in case I absolutely need it. And also, I mean, I have the Zoroark break in my hand, so that's something to keep in mind. Probably my opponent will... Okay, so he's going to go for another Golbat more than likely, retreat into his Lucario, and go for a Corkscrew Smash. So I don't think there's anything he can do... Oh, so he... Okay, yeah, he's going to go for probably 2 Golbats to completely play down his hand and then just free treat. Or he goes for another Hawlucha. I guess the other Golbat might be prized or something like that. That's the only thing I can think of why he would do that, but I'm wondering what he's going to put the damage on. Okay, he just puts it on the Yveltal. That won't... I don't think that'll do too much because Corkscrew Smash will still be a 3-hit KO at this point. Yeah, Corkscrew Smash will still take 2 more hits to knock me out unless my opponent gets another energy. But I think we will be okay regardless. I'm going to go ahead and Ultra Ball away the Reverse Valley and the Darkness Energy to grab my Yveltal EX, go ahead and play that down, put the DCE on it, play the Sycamore to get some more cards to work with, and we have a pretty solid hand. I'm going to go ahead and stand in, and then retreat into the Yveltal, go for an Oblivion Wing, power up my Yveltal EX on the bench. That way we have something to hit with, and now I'm starting to be in a much better position. I will be able to KO the Lucario next turn with my Yveltal EX, and it looks as though our first hand isn't going to hurt us too badly. I don't think, at least. I mean, right now I just have to make it through this turn and minimize the damage. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have any way to get like too many Crobats out, because I will be able to judge my opponent down to 4 cards that he hopefully will not be able to work with, and I will be able to KO the Lucario next turn. We do see the VS Seeker, so I'm wondering, okay, my opponent's going to go for the Birch's Observations. This will be absolutely gigantic if he flips Tails with it, so that's kind of what I'm praying for right now. Oh, that is great. That is absolutely phenomenal for us. We know that he doesn't run Shaman. He does run the Crushing Hammer, though. I don't really understand why you run Crushing Hammer in that type of deck. He does get rid of the DCE on the Zoroark. That's okay. I'm okay with him getting rid of the DCE. And we see a Potion on the Lucario. Huh. That is interesting. And then we see an energy onto the Hawlucha. My opponent's just going to go for a Corkscrew Smash this turn, get some more cards in his hand. This does mean that we will not be able to KO the Lucario this turn, but what it does mean is I can play the Darkness Energy onto, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this would be 6, 7. It'd be 140. I would need a Muscle Band. I would need a Muscle Band to knock it out, I believe. Yes, I would need a Muscle Band, and is it already... Did I get rid of it? I don't think so, but no matter the case, I'm going to attach this to the Yveltal, I'm pretty sure. Yes, and then I'm going to go for a Judge to put my opponent down to 4 cards. I have plenty of stuff in play to where I think I'm good for now. And I can even Ultra Ball for something later if I need to, or AZ up the Shaman. And then I'm just going to go for an Oblivion Wing, get some more damage onto the Lucario, play another energy, probably onto the Yveltal. Yeah, just power it up a lot. That way Lucario is going to go down and my opponent will be forced to respond. What I can do next turn, I think, is VS Seeker for a Lysander to get rid of the Hawlucha with this Yveltal while getting another Darkness Energy in play. He will respond. Okay, so he is just going to knock out the Yveltal. Never mind, I am going to go for a Judge anyway to get my opponent back down to 4 cards and make him respond to the Yveltal EX that will be directly in front of him. And I don't think my opponent will have any way to draw cards, so that's kind of what I'm hoping. We will be down prizes, but that is something that we can just kind of roll with at this point. I think we could be okay, depending on the situation that arises. If I knock out the Lucario, I will be in a good position because Hawlucha will be able to hit for some good damage, and depending on how much he's able to stack on the Yveltal, actually that will determine what he's able to do. Oh man, this is big. Okay. So my opponent is actually powering up a Hawlucha on the bench. If he gets like another Crobat or something like that, we will have to respond immediately. We will have no choice. I'm just going to go ahead and promote the Zoroark. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 energy in play. My Darkrai will be able to knock out the Lucario in 1 hit with a Dark Pulse, I think. 1, 2, 3. So this would be 7, 140, 150. Yeah, that will definitely be enough. I'm going to go ahead and retreat into the Darkrai. Go ahead and VS Seeker to grab a Judge to judge my opponent down to 4 cards. Hopefully nothing he can use. I do even get a Super Rod that I can get my Yveltal probably Darkrai and another Yveltal back with. So let's just go ahead and play that. Darkrai and Yveltal, that is just fine. And then let us go straight for the Dark Pulse to knock out the Lucario and hopefully put ourselves in a decent position, I think. Okay, I do draw a Shaman and a Darkness Energy. My opponent is definitely going to promote a Hawlucha to be able to do 80 damage to my Darkrai this turn. So, or actually I would think he would promote that, yeah, definitely. Or what I can also do is play an Yveltal down, or he'd promote, I guess it really doesn't matter because he has free treat anyway and he just wanted to see what cards he drew. So, okay, we do see a Lucario on the bench. That is going to be something we have to worry about. What I can do next turn is play this Yveltal down, go ahead and... I'm curious as to what my opponent's going to do this turn. Okay, we do see the Karina. Okay, a Lucario and then probably a Muscle Band, maybe? That's what I would think he would try to grab to be able to get a 2-hit KO on the Darkrai. But what I am probably going to do this turn is play this Yveltal down onto the bench, go ahead and play a Darkness Energy onto this, promote this Yveltal, that way I can knock out a Hawlucha with, or I have to decide which Yveltal I would like to promote. Oh, and he goes for a Professor's Letter, I guess, just to try to get more energy. I guess that means I can Lysander, and I think I'm going to Lysander, just because I don't want him getting too powerful. But it looks like he'll only be able to hit us for 60 or 80 damage this turn, depending on which Pokemon he promotes. So that is something that is definitely positive. So he'll only be able to hit us for 60 this turn. That is just fine. That means I can save my Lysander for later. Or I can just draw into it. That works too. Go ahead and play this down. Play the energy onto this Yveltal, go ahead and go for a VS Seeker, judge, make sure my opponent doesn't have the right amount of energy in his hand, and then I can just retreat into one of my Yveltals and then go for an Oblivion Wing. This one has 90 HP left, so I am just going to stand in on the Darkrai and then retreat into this Yveltal, and then go for an Oblivion Wing, knock out the Hawlucha, get another Darkness Energy in play, probably onto 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, onto the Yveltal. I mean, I know I'm really loading it up, but I need that to ensure that I get rid of the Darkrai later. I do even draw a Max Elixir, so that's something. That's pretty good. Hopefully my opponent doesn't get a Crobat this turn, because if he does, that will be able to get some more damage on something, and I really do not want to have to worry about that. If I get a Max Elixir and I draw an energy, then I will be able to attack with one of my Yveltal this turn. I don't think it really matters which at this point. So he is just targeting down the Yveltal EX on the bench, which is big because he will be able to, at this point, he'll be able to knock it out with something that does 90 damage. I don't think he has a way to do that this turn. VS Seeker, So my opponent has to be very careful. So he's going to go for the Sycamore, and depending on what he sends in, if he sends in his Lucario, I will be able to immediately KO that next turn, and my opponent will not really have anything to immediately respond with. I don't think he does have the Crushing Hammer. He gets heads on that. That is very unfortunate. It gets rid of one of the energy on my Darkrai. So curious that he didn't get rid of the DCE on my Yveltal. He will be able to get a good amount of damage off with his Lucario if that's what he chooses to do. Yeah, that does look like what he's going to do. Plays a Fighting Stadium. That is just fine. Goes for a Corkscrew Smash. Okay, that's not going to do much to my Yveltal at all. And I think I'm in an okay position. So what I can do is go ahead and play the... Actually, look at the top 6 cards. So I want to make sure that I get an energy off of this. Doesn't matter because I don't have any energy anyway. So I'll just go ahead and get rid of a Lysander just so I can get rid of that. Probably going to go ahead and I think let's go ahead and rush stand in. And then I think retreat into Yveltal and probably just go for an Evil Ball, try to draw in energy off of the prizes, because that's what I have to hope for now. Do we get something? We get a Sycamore and a Max Elixir. Those do not help us at all. I might have to rely on... Let's see, what will I have to rely on? I might have to rely on Yveltal to finish up the game for me, because if my opponent has a Crobat, yep, he gets Super Scoop Up. Okay, that's a Lucky Tails. If he gets a Super Scoop Up, actually it doesn't matter. He will be able to knock out this Yveltal anyway. I just have to hope that he doesn't have a way of knocking out my Darkrai on the bench. And okay, we do have an Ultra Ball for a Crobat, more than likely, as long as my opponent doesn't have a Lysander. Or for a Lucario. Okay, I guess he wants to... Not sure what my opponent is going for right now, but I will have to end this battle with... I think I'll have to go for Yveltal to win it. That's what it's going to come down to. If my opponent has a Lysander next turn, there is absolutely nothing I can do about that. So I do draw another Max Elixir. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of both of those. To grab, I don't think I'm going to grab anything. I will grab, probably, actually I might grab the Yveltal. Just because... just to have something to play down. There we go. And then I think I'm going to... Actually, I didn't even see if I had a VS Seeker. That was the entire reason I looked. Do I have another VS Seeker? I do not, so I need to save that for next turn. So what I have to do is go ahead and AZ up, I think I have to AZ up the Darkrai. It will discard an energy, but I can't have that be a target for 2 prizes. I mean, even though my opponent only needs 1 and all he needs is a Lysander at this point, I will just have to go for an Oblivion Wing right now, get another energy in play, probably on the Zoroark. If my opponent has a Lysander... Actually, can my opponent win next turn? I think... Okay, if he has... Or he's going for the Shaman. If he has a Lysander, then he wins. Yep, GG. My opponent played very well. He was able to knock out my last Shaman to get the win. Nothing, absolutely nothing I could do about that. That was very unfortunate that we started off as poorly as we did. I think if we had started off a little bit better, we definitely would have won. I think there is absolutely no way we would have lost. But because we started poorly and immediately was at a 4-6 deficit, that was why we lost. So, I mean, this deck is very good. Unfortunately, any deck is bad if it has a bad start, but... I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.